I'm Wendy Teo. I'm professionally trained as architect. When I first moved back, I kind of knew that I didn't know anyone, so we need to incorporate some instrument in order to bring the kind of people we want to know and also we want to collaborate with. We do see a lot of potential because of the talent and also see how we can put together a project that really tell a vision, that really believing in something. Ting Ting as a supermarket has lasted for 75 years. Before we took over and turned it into a art gallery and art experimentation. Not simply the experimentation toward architecture, but also the experimentation toward, let's say, filmmaking, let's say documentation, let's say theater. There's never really an integrated platform for people to come together and work together, and this could be a destination catered for that. So with the buildings, we realize since it is at the heart of the city, it should be used to manifest something bigger than just a building. I'm Wendy Teo. I'm professionally trained as architect. Now I'm the founder and curator of Borneo Lab. I grew up in Kuching. Until 17, I moved to Taiwan for my first degree in architecture. I was definitely interested in architecture a lot, but I think Taiwan as a platform also opened me out as a person, and also what do I want to do, what kind of contribution I want to make toward the architectural scene. I think with my first degree experience, I realized, a lot of time, if you really want to change a game, you need to be outside of the game. And then I went to London, I went to UK for Foster. At that point, I felt that, wow, I can learn so much from it, because that is definitely one of the best, still one of the best in the architectural industry. This phase of the journey definitely taught me a lot about setting out a creative environment. But initially, I only planned for only half a year. But after 2 or 3 years, they funded me for my Part 3 education, which took place in Cambridge. And Cambridge was another learning curve. In Part 3 education, they expect students to kind of walk through design briefing to the stage of doing concept, delivering schematic design, and tendering, engaging a group of people to work together and deliver the project until it's handed over. So if you can organize this process, this is what we call Part 3. So that was already the time that I started planning for Borneo Art Collective, for B-Lab. And the rest are kind of history. Yeah. When I first moved back, I kind of knew that I didn't know anyone, so I knew I need to do some preparation beforehand. So that was how I started a Kickstarter before moving back.
When we talk to people about Borneo, people always come up with this exotic impression, like tropical forests and beaches with sunshine.
Because we already left home for 15 years and we didn't know anyone, so we need to incorporate some instrument in order to bring the kind of people we want to know and also we want to collaborate with, bring it to our world as well. So that was why our first project, Borneo Art Collective, was a documentation project, looking at how could what other people are doing around Borneo, and what other practitioners are trying to say around Borneo. So that was the Pan Borneo Road Trip project. But when it's come to Borneo Lab, I think it is an angle that is more toward experimentation. Not simply the experimentation toward architecture, but also the experimentation toward, let's say, filmmaking, let's say documentation, let's say theater, or even publication. What I like about Borneo material is always constantly changing because of our climate, the constant rain, and also the exposure of sunlight. In terms of the biodiversity, like we actually one of the highest coverage in the world. But if you talk to me about like the Borneo craft, I would say like at the moment it's pretty much underexplored in terms of its potential in craft. If we want to move further, I think there is a lot of conversation ought to take place. Either it is from within or like coming from outside to come in. Redesigning Bornean craft is part of the Redesigning Bornean Aesthetic series. So with that series, it was trying to discover the things that is under the radar. Either they are in a tangible form or like craft, or intangible form like experiences. And then we were thinking about like how to bring in some contemporary like design input from the designer we invited from different places. So we thought like it would be meaningful to look at it collectively. By bringing in new perspective, I do wish that local scene being wiped out. And at the moment, we already start seeing that, like for example, Patapian, they've been working with the team maker, and then they develop really close relationship.
We have a chance to work with tinsmith people, and we work with Uncle Ho. He told us about he has like 3 sons, 1 daughter, but no one wants to do tin anymore.
The owner of this last remaining rattan shop, he mentions that 10 years ago, where we are now in Jalan Bishopsgate, there used to be quite a few rattan makers and rattan sellers. But nowadays, this is the last remaining rattan shop.
I think one of the challenge of Borneo craft scene at the moment is like people always perceive that if you're not doing lawyer, architect, or doctor, then you're not doing well. These craftsmen, they would rather to give up their skill, or they're reluctant to pass down their skill to the younger generation. And it's a huge problem. When more innovation happen, it means that more conversation happen. It means that like more younger generation of like, they will have a chance to see what kind of like craft we still have. But at the same time, it is a project beyond that. It's also surprised me how, like how different people they are very talented, but there is no platform for showcasing.
Well, actually I learned woodworking in secondary school, basic woodworking. We used to have that, but not anymore. That's how I started with wood. And also I have a brother-in-law who works in a sawmill, and he used to bring me wood. Bobby used to bring me wood of all sorts, and so I get my material from there, and I would make things, So I've always been making things in the backyard. This is the hardest thing ever to do. Okay. This is billion, but this part billion. It's a billion stump, root ball actually. It's a root ball. This is actual root ball, upside down actually. The root is there, it's upside down. Some parts here, some parts, not all, are so hard that when you swing an axe at it, your axe will bounce back. I'm not joking. Well, actually, I did work in as an architect, also as a contractor of sorts. Then I come across this word and start working on it, and one thing led to another. Architecture is a very you need a team. You need a lot of things. This you can work on your own from start to finish, and I feel more free and to do sculptures and to craft things out and work out my ideas. We do see a lot of potential because of the talent, because of the people that we've been working with. We felt that there are different people that we can collaborate with, and also see how we can put together a project that really tell a vision, that really believing in something. There's never really an integrated platform for people to come together and work together, and this could be a destination catered for that.
Ting as a supermarket is lasted for 75 years. Before we took over and turned it into a art gallery and art experimentation. Kuching never really have a gallery, a public gallery, or a gallery for the community. So that is certainly one of the lack. And we were talking about a destination like for art, but we never really truly have a destination that only dedicating for a regular like art content. So with the buildings, we realized, okay, since it is at the heart of the city, it should be used to manifest something bigger than just a building. So we thought, you know what, it could be a faculty of thinking for the Kuching night and beyond the Kuching context, because the Ting and Ting supermarket, it was named after the Ting family. So we felt that it should be renamed into Ting and Ting. And we felt that like Ting and Ting is the time that we give it back to the community. So now it is a combination of a studio collective, gallery, we have cafe as well, and we hopefully will also have a weekend market, yeah. And at the same time, we have our art residency and edible garden components over here. So there are several things kind of like work together in one place. We need to kind of like start with an event that allowed something experimental to happen, and then seeing what our crowd is based in, and also what kind of engagement we can carry out through the building. And so that was why we started rethinking public relation, setting out a cooperation through a social movement, yeah, and also ask bigger question and taking out the social dance floor to look at like the community participation in the project that we do. So we felt that this building has the opportunity, offer that kind of opportunity for us to work with more people. So with this building, we also have an artistic statement, which is connect widely, think deeply, and act daringly. Because art, for us, it shouldn't be the servant of the tourism. It should be an instrument for something bigger, something deeper. I think during the lockdown, in a way, I hope in the long time later, like when we look back to the lockdown, it is a blessing in disguise, because I felt that like a lot of time, it was actually through that lockdown, a lot more people start to get what we are doing, trying to do here. And not simply because of that, of course. I think there is a collective reflection over the kind of lifestyle that we subscribe to, and how could we commit to a real change. So we have to look at something. I think change should happen from something humble, something subtle that can be replicated, like, you know, wider. And in our context, we wanted to look at food, yeah. And second thing is like the kind of places that we hang out. Urban Greenhouse project was also inspired during the lockdown time. So we felt that like especially in the context like Malaysia, a tropical area, a lot of people actually hang out in the shopping mall. So how could we provide more hangout spaces that is outdoor spaces? Yeah, so that was the time that we start thinking, okay, so how could we combine these two? You know, a place for people a new outdoor destination, and at the same time, we can look at the food aspect, and with the food aspect, collaborating with the neighborhood, turning into a participatory model, yeah, and so we can collect the planters, which is the plastic bottle from the community, and use it to plant life. So we run a campaign called like Plants Life from Plastic. You know what? Like to set out to do something new, you have to be ready. You have to be ready. Sometimes like people will see you as a threat, which is okay. And I think simply like I would say acting from the mind, yeah, from your heart and from your gut. And these three components is very fundamental to your journey, because a lot of time like we think that we can figure out something from the mind, but most of the issue of our world, they are not intelligent issue, they are spiritual issue. And to tackle with them, you not simply need the intelligence to handle it, you need gut to handle it, and you need the heart to handle it.